So what's up everybody? Welcome to the channel, and today what we're going to do is our first attempt at speedrunning. So I always had this question of, people play video games over and over again. What about in real life? Like I always thought, well, there are these puzzles out there, jigsaw puzzles, and they'll probably take me an hour, a few hours to start out, but is it possible for me to just get so good at it that I could solve puzzles like this in just a few minutes? So I wanted to solve the same one over and over again. Do I have some sort of like noticeable increase in speed? So yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, unboxing time. A lot of glue on this box. I set a target time of 2 hours for myself for the first run, arbitrarily because online I read that 2 to 3 hours is a decent expected solve time for a 300-piece puzzle. So the first strategy I go for is the edges first strategy. This is the strategy that I feel like everybody is taught to try for when they're first solving a jigsaw puzzle. I remember my parents telling me to do that on the first big jigsaw puzzle I attempted as a kid, and most people I've talked to generally think this is a strategy that makes the most sense. Those pieces have a clearly different edge and help get you grounded, so they're a good place to start, right? At first, it seems pretty good. The bottom row pieces not only are flat, but also have the line of the American flag's red-white stripe cutting through them and aren't too difficult to spot at first. But after 15 minutes, I'm still not even halfway through the bottom row. It turns out these pieces are super hard to connect because they're so visually similar. It's not like other parts of the puzzle where you can look at the graphic and figure out how they connect. The edges, especially the bottom edge, are so similar in color and pattern that finding out how they go together just takes way too long. I end up giving up on this strategy and just build out from California. I connected two pieces of California while working on the left edge, and the easily recognizable script font on the license plate made it an attractive place to start. Soon, from there, I build up north and eastward, continuing the solve by looking for pieces that I could add to my ever-expanding solved area. Eventually, I finished my first attempt at just under an hour and a half. 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 12 seconds. Okay. Time. 1:28:12. Whew. Okay. All right, so first time is 1:28:12. We hit the 1:30 mark. All right. My second attempt I decided to do in a much more structured way. I spend my time sorting all of the pieces into the main colors of license plate, while also looking for Texas and California. They're two of the largest states in terms of how many puzzle pieces they contain, and they both happen to be a white-blue color that makes their pieces pretty easy to spot, so that's what I thought would be the best for starting out. I'm able to sort all of the pieces in about 10 minutes, allowing me to finish the continental US in 33 minutes and the entire puzzle in 54:58. It's pretty clear to me that the area outside of the continental US and the edges that I originally tried to start with are a disproportionate part of the solve time. The US itself is way larger and more pieces, but the edges are taking me more time to solve. I decided to resort the edges after completing the continental US into top, bottom, side, and Alaska or Hawaii, and then completing the puzzle, and this drops my time down to 45:36. At this point, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. It's been 3 runs, and I've almost been able to cut my time in half. At the same time, it's becoming obvious that my methods aren't that optimized. Sorting for color, for instance, has clear drawbacks. A lot of times, states with similar colored plates aren't next to each other. Moreover, sorting by color definitely costed me for states like Nebraska, where I ended up sorting the pieces into different piles. I decided to try and sort geographically, but also to try and place pieces wherever I can. If I feel like I can place the piece, there's no sense in taking the extra step in sorting it first. This kind of hybrid approach makes it feel a bit different than speedrunning video games, where you often have to complete certain tasks before starting other ones. For the jigsaw puzzle, it's almost certainly beneficial to start and complete as many tasks in parallel as possible. This line of thinking is also why I decided to stop trying to start with California and Texas. I need to be able to just pick up pieces and start from anywhere on the map depending on which pieces I find. In actuality, in a perfectly optimized speedrun, sorting would be a waste of time. Instead, I should aspire to pick pieces up and place them exactly where they go as soon as I see them. This obviously requires me to know many more pieces and also be able to remember all of the different parts of the puzzle that I'm working on simultaneously so that I can appropriately place new pieces that I reveal. The more simultaneous threads that I can work on, the faster I can be. Trying to focus on this proves to be extremely difficult, but I'm able to get a 3701 by my 5th attempt. The trickier thing about this approach also, though, is that now I'm not really able to think about explicit processes and strategies. If anything, the most optimal thing for me is to be as flexible as possible with when one step of the solve ends and another begins, or rather to just try to do all of the steps simultaneously. That makes it harder for me to think about what my approach should be in order to get better. So far, I've already been able to cut down the time from almost an hour and a half to sub 40 minutes, but cutting it down to my target of sub 20 feels like a monumental task. At 20 minutes, I'm not even done with the continental US yet, and that's before I get to what I think is the hardest part of the challenge, which is all of the modeled brown pieces outside of the US as we get close to the edges. It feels so nebulous to just say, well, I guess I need to just do more attempts and learn where the pieces go. That might be true, but is there an organized way I can go about that in order to get the most gains? I want to hear from you guys. Comment below and tell me what you think will be the best strategic way for me to solve this puzzle faster, and is sub 20 minutes even possible? Tune into the next video where I break down the next incremental set of improvements that I make, and watch me do attempts live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/gooddirections.